Hey everybody, we are inviting you to our Dinner with the Doc event, and we are going over metabolic testing. It's going to be on September 30th at 6:30 p.m. at the Oyster Shooters Bar and Grill. And if you're not familiar with where that restaurant is, it's up right before Cocoa Village, and we'll get you the directions if you sign up for the event. And so metabolic testing, one of the coolest tests and one of my favorite things to do in this clinic. It is a titan of a test, but it shows you who you are on paper and what your individual needs are nutritionally, metabolically, and functionally. So we test for antioxidant support, mitochondrial support, inflammation, toxic exposure, and also methylation imbalance, how your body converts things into energy. And so 92% of people have a vitamin or mineral deficiency. And what causes this? The number one thing that causes a vitamin or mineral deficiency is lifestyle. Number two, prolonged diet and gut health. Number three, lack of exercise. Number four, living in a toxic environment or exposing yourself to toxins. And number five, public food source. And so why do we test? We want to identify nutritional insufficiencies, toxicities, and genetic susceptibilities that may be the cause of your chronic condition and the reason why Metabolix was created. All health issues have a root cause, and we want to identify them in their infancy before they grow stronger, before they grow into a dysfunction, and ultimately before they grow into a disease. So if you've ever wanted to test for factors that are not tested in your yearly blood work, this is the event for you. And the night is on us, the dinner is on us, and we're also going to give you the opportunity to order this test, and we'll show you what that process looks like. And so with Metabolix, what we found is a way to become very proactive instead of reactive when it comes to your health. And Metabolix doesn't treat just based on your symptoms, but instead it finds the root cause of your body's nutrient deficiencies, toxicities, and any genetic susceptibilities. Metabolic tests also addresses the underlying issues at the cellular level, utilizing an at-home functional test methods of blood using either a finger prick or a finger lancet, urine, stool, and or saliva. And this test also provides a clear view on how your body functions and to recognize broken pathways in the body. It's going to show you exactly who you are and what your needs are. Because in America, we get routine blood work, which when one of our markers are out of range, it puts us on a medication. But what if there was a test that showed while we're starting to build a dysfunction or build a disease, if we can start to prevent it from the start? That's what this test is about. And traditionally, the way that we test is a very reactive system. So very rarely does the doctor ever stop and ask about our lifestyle habits such as sleep, exercise, diet, mental health, how are we doing, mobility and function. So if we're not addressing how the issue got there, how are we going to fix the root cause of the problem instead of just masking it with the medication? And there's a time and place for medication, but I would say in this country, we are way over medicated majority of the time. So there was a test that showed how we function metabolically and tested for our individual needs, specific individualized nutrition needs and functional needs, which is what the power of this metabolic testing is all about. So with this test, we get to test for oxidative stress. So reducing free radicals, which can help if we have an overgrowth or if we have too much of an abundance of free radicals, that can lead to premature aging, cancer disposition, and also dysfunction in any other part of the body where the free radicals are. Mitochondrial dysfunction. So how are your energy pathways? How is the powerhouse of the cell utilizing things for energy? Omega imbalance, if there's any inflammation that we need to reduce. Toxic exposure. Heavy metals, heavy elements that we don't want in the body. How do we, what are they and how do we get rid of those? And then also methylation imbalance, how we convert things into energy in the body. Very important process. And this test, it can have the ability to change your life. I can't tell you, I've done this test with hundreds of patients. Patients have been able to come off of medications with their medical doctor. Hundreds of pounds have been lost, no longer trapped by sugar or alcohol. When people are no longer bound to their cravings or to their fixations, watching them be free and watching them thrive really makes this test and this process worth it. Brain fog lifted, restful sleep has been restored, energy goes back up, and back to routine exercise because one, they have the energy to, they have the weight off so it's no longer painful. And number three is they want to because it helps their body and it feels good for them again. So just to share a story with you guys, Mr. Clucky, who did this test a couple years ago, said, "I'd like to tell you about my journey with the metabolic process, but first you need to understand where I started. I came to Coastline Family Chiropractic at 46 years old with lower back pain and neck pain. And as an avid hiker, kayaker, and camper, that was a problem. I'm also a colon cancer survivor who has experienced digestive issues compounded by my hypothyroidism and sleep apnea challenges. My goals were to have less pain, to be able to load a kayak on my own at 90 and live to at least 105. Keeping up with my chiropractic treatment has eliminated my pain issues and become part of my daily exercise routine. However, my digestive issues have been a challenge for nearly 2 decades. Following multiple surgeries, I was officially in remission of July 2014. Little did I know how brutal the after effects to come would be. Solid food in general was difficult for my body to process without pain. I started gaining weight, but not in a good way. 6 months later, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, a common trait in my family. Since then, I've had difficulty keeping excess weight off despite exercising regularly nearly every day. My solution was to just eat less food and exercise more. So a 600 to 800 calorie diet it was. That did not really work. I attended a workshop dinner hosted by Coastline and listened to Dr. Keith explain a healthy eating and living on a cellular level. This resonated with me and I signed up for the Metabolix program. At home, the at-home test kit is very precise and required me to pay attention to the instructions. I read it twice before following the directions again to take the samples. It was explained to me my cells were not permeable and they were denying my body of necessary nutrients. I also had poisons in my body from eating bad foods and previous medical treatments. I've been on the Metabolix protocol for nearly 3 months and I feel great. Dr. Keith called me every week for the first month to provide support and to see how I was doing. My waist is trimming down despite doubling my calorie intake. I have more energy and sleep better. Best of all, I've come off of my cholesterol, anti-spasm, and anti-inflammatory medications. I'm actually hungry and eat solid foods with no pain. Amen. I know there are no guarantees in life, but with the education and treatments I received from Coastline Spine and Health Center, I'm confident I can live a long and active life kayaking beyond my 90s and into my centenarian years. And if you are not at least listening to what they have to offer, you're cheating yourselves out of years in healthy and happy living. Amazing story. Another amazing story here is Lynette shares with us, I first came to Coastline Spine for regular chiropractic adjustments, not realizing that it was just the beginning of a complete health transformation. At the time, I would say I was barely functioning. I had high cortisol, severe oxidative stress, and was constantly exhausted. I couldn't sleep, couldn't stay asleep, and my energy was non-existent. And that's not the half of it. I had other health issues too. My mood was always up and down. My body was inflamed and aching, and I felt like I was constantly running on soft sand, feeling like everything was too much. It was hard to show up and just be present. I was active and I did not eat terribly bad, but I still could not get myself to feel better. I had tried everything and nothing worked. I truly believed that this was just how life had to be. But then Dr. Keith at Coastline introduced me to a completely different way of approaching health through the metabolic health protocol, and everything changed. Let me be clear, this was not an easy road. I committed to a 6-month protocol that required discipline, structure, and a lot of self-honesty, also money. It was uncomfortable at times, but it was deeply worth it because nothing truly good is born out of easy. In just 6 weeks, I lost nearly 30 pounds, significantly reduced my inflammation, and finally felt like I was turning a corner. Now, after completing the full protocol, I can say without hesitation, I feel like I'm back in my 20s. Strong, vibrant, fully alive, more present than ever, 2 exclamation marks. The benefits didn't stop with my body. This protocol has improved my marriage, helped me regulate stress, and taught me how to truly rest and take care of myself, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. I show up better, I cope better, and I no longer run off of fumes. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm not just surviving, but I am thriving. We do maintenance on our vehicles without question. Why aren't we doing the same for ourselves? That's exactly what this was. Necessary maintenance for my life. If you're struggling, burned out, or have convinced yourself that feeling terrible is normal, please believe me, it's not. Cosign gave me my life back, and while this road was hard, there's no turning back, and you can do it too. Phenomenal story from Lynette, and we thank you very much for sharing your story. So if you have something that's going on, whether if you have brain fog, fatigue, hair loss, if you have not been able to lose weight and you've tried everything in the book, or another issue that is going on that's been there for too long and it's no longer welcome, come to our Metabolix dinner. Let me show you what the test is about. Hear from patients who are going to give their testimony at this workshop. Find out what their story was so you can hear it from somebody else and what their journey has been along their healing process. In case anything resonates with you, if we can take the next step towards your healing, towards your recovery and your health journey, sign up for the dinner. The dinner's on us on September 30th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to be at the Oysters, Shooters Bar and Grill. You can sign up below, or if you have any questions, ask one of the team members or the girls and they'll get you taken care of. We'll see you then.